Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Boothe, along with Joe Concha, Anita Vogel, and David Webb, and welcome to the Big Weekend Show. The big story tonight. The fix is in for Hunter Biden. Republicans are united in ripping apart the new Hunter Biden special counsel. Attorney General Merrick Garland sending shockwaves through Washington, D.C. after appointing U.S. Delaware Attorney David Weiss to head up the probe, which is obviously a total joke. I mean, this is the same guy who screwed up the whole thing in the first place by giving the first son the sweetheart deal of the century. And that was until a judge blew it up. And now you've got GOP presidential candidates and lawmakers calling it out how they see it. Listen.
David Weiss cannot be trusted. Kid gloves is the treatment that Hunter Biden has received from this Department of Justice. Appointing David as the special counsel is like keeping the concept of the DOJ protecting Democrats while hunting Republicans.
I don't trust it. I don't think the American people trust it. One, what took so long? Two, is it Hunter Biden or is it the Biden family? And three, did they do this as a distraction to take away from all the pay-to-play stuff that's coming out there? So, look, it's another reason why the Department of Justice has serious issues and needs to be cleaned out, along with our intelligence agencies.
You know, David Weiss, he's the architect of the sweetheart deal. He's the U.S. attorney that allowed the statute of limitations to expire on the more serious tax charges. You know, this is just a travesty. This is not going to restore confidence at all in the Justice Department.
But of course, the liberal media is pulling out all of the stops to defend Hunter Biden, saying he's being treated worse than Donald Trump.
I think all the evidence that I've seen so far in this case is that Hunter Biden, he could be a terrible guy. I don't know, never met him, is being treated worse than anyone else would be. He's being treated worse the way Donald Trump claims he's being treated worse.
This is the son of the president. He's not the candidate. He's not a political officer. And what he may have done and what we know was involved in the plea agreement doesn't even begin to compare to classified documents and to the indictment here in D.C. and the superseding indictment, to say nothing of what may or may not be happening in New York State or Georgia.
The media sees one silver lining to Hunter's special counsel. It's going to keep those pesky House Republicans from getting to the bottom of Biden family corruption.
She says it fuel the Republicans, but the other way to look at it is that it could keep Republicans at bay. While the special counsel is doing his work, he's unlikely to talk to Congress, and it's unlikely for them to get the information that they're working.
Right, and that's
all right. So a lot to cover here. You know, David, let's start with the fact that David Weiss, as Republicans were criticizing, this is the guy who cut that sweetheart deal that got blown up. He's been investigating Hunter for 5 years. So why a special counsel now? What does this mean?
It's all about playing cover for the Bidens. All right, I've got a couple of things for people to look up and learn. One is 28 CFR 600.1. That's the grounds for appointing a special counsel. It's 2 short paragraphs, easy to read. Everyone should read that and understand it. This should not be done this way. It's outside counsel. It presents a conflict of interest with David Weiss, as you just mentioned. If you believe that it took 5 years to investigate 2 misdemeanor charges under the tax code. Okay, just stop there for a second. The statute of limitations is the other thing that matters here. It continues to run, and this is the Washington dodge. What you do is you have the statute of limitations run out while Weiss is investigating for maybe 2 more years or whatever, and then they say, look, we can't charge him with anything. It's about breaking the chain to Joe Biden. It's not about Hunter Biden. He had no skills to offer the Moscow mayor's wife, Burisma, CEFC, the Chinese company. He had no skills to offer any of them. What he did was he had access to the lever of power, and that is his father. James Biden has no power. Hallie Biden has no power. They have no ability to decide or affect policy, and we saw Joe Biden tell us that. So remember, if you break the chain with Hunter, you give the left cover to say they're going after Hunter Biden, and it breaks the chain to Joe Biden. And by the way, the Republicans, yes, David Weiss can say, no, I can't comment. It's an ongoing investigation. But But the Republicans have subpoena power, that have full power. They should bring everyone in, including Hunter Biden, Tony Bobulinski, Devin Archer, bring back Mr. Shapley, bring back the whistleblowers, bring back everyone associated with Rosemont Seneca, with any of these companies. And if there are any of those Chinese nationals, which there are in this country, subpoena them as well. Republicans have not been very good at closing the deal. And they got to, frankly, stop complaining. Do the job.
Well, and so I want to get you on that, Joe. Let's pull up this New York Post headline real quick. So it says this. It says, Merrick Garland's latest dirty trick to protect the Bidens. It goes on. Here's a quote from it. It says, Attorney General Merrick Garland may have just played his last trick card to save Joe Biden, appointing a special counsel to lay prosecution of his son, Hunter. So we've got this headline from the New York Post, but we also saw how MSNBC covered it. Yeah. You know, so how do Republicans reach those voters who aren't necessarily hearing the truth about all this?
That's the thing. The focus will go on other networks and other papers that are not the New York Post, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC. We know the usual suspects. It will pivot back to Trump. And when they have to talk about Joe Biden, it will be dismissed as Hunter Biden is an unelected official. What did Andrea Mitchell say? This has nothing to do with the president. It has nothing to do with the president, really. $20 million paid to 10 members of the Biden family. And you're telling me that the guy who is the head of that family, who had the title of vice president, the reason why all that money went in there, doesn't know anything about it and didn't receive a dime, despite the fact that we have emails saying that he received at least 10%. How journalists like Andrea Mitchell, who's been around since what, Richard Nixon, can suddenly just dismiss that as there's no evidence here. Like we saw Jake Tapper on CNN earlier this week saying, well, Hunter Biden may be a sleazy guy, but where's the evidence that goes to Joe Biden? You could literally have a photo of Hunter Biden handing Joe Biden a white bag of cash that has a $sign on it, and you would have Jake Tapper saying, but we don't know what's in that bag. And until we do, there is no evidence here whatsoever. This is what's so frustrating about our media. Cover Donald Trump. Fine, there are trials coming up. Cover Joe Biden equally with the same vigor if you want anything resembling integrity back. Whew.
Well, you talk about Jake Tapper. We've got a clip from him where he's admitting that, maybe the whistleblowers are onto something here.
I believe he had previously argued publicly that he had the right to do whatever he wanted. And then the whistleblowers said, well, behind the scenes, Weiss was complaining he couldn't do that. He wasn't able to do that. And the Justice Department and Weiss denied what the whistleblowers were saying. But this move makes it seem as though, well, maybe the whistleblowers were right.
Well, and maybe they were also right about saying that he failed to follow felony tax charges, failed to follow the foreign money trail. But, and as a journalist, you've got a lot of questions. What would you like to know about all of this?
So much.
Yeah. Well, so you're like, where do we begin?
Where do we begin? I mean, all the questions that everybody has been asking. Why this person? This kind of just smells funny, right? I mean, he has already been investigating this case for 5 years. The whistleblowers, back to David's point about calling the whistleblowers back into Congress, they said he failed to follow up on their claims. Where did the foreign money go? If he already failed to follow up, how is he going to follow up now? And if he finds that trail leads to Joe Biden, then what? Is he going to follow those claims? And to Joe's point about the media, well, I wonder if the majority of the media, the mainstream press outside of Fox News, feel like they're off the hook now. Because if they ask these questions at the White House briefing, the answer is going to be, we can't answer. It's under investigation. Are they off the hook now? Do they feel good about this?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I want to pull up this poll from Daily Mail. It says 2/3 of Americans say Joe Biden broke foreign agent rules by helping son Hunter Biden's business dealings. This is what Americans think. David, we're obviously heading into a big 2024 presidential election. How do you think this plays out in the general?
I think the American people see this, especially the people who don't wake up every day and check their Twitter account or their Truth account for the latest news, right? The latest political news. And those are the people we need to reach. Why the point of an honest media is necessary to do this, and a Republican establishment, and when I say establishment, not just James Comer or some of the other leadership, but really the party structure and the supporters, the pundits need to go out and get it right, is to get to those people. The base gets it. in order to get this to the American people, you've got to go outside of the base. And that's an important part of the communication. If they do that, they'll understand that fundamentally, and frankly, as Donald Trump said when he said, they're not working for you, he didn't say Republicans or Democrats are not working for you. He was talking about an elitism in Washington, D.C. that puts Mitch McConnell, Dianne Feinstein, McCarthy with Sequoia Capital as his major donor, and so many others all together into this elite little club that thinks very little of, us proletariat out here.
Right. Well, that's also why none of these guys want to get out of politics, right? It's a gravy train.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.